Hello, hello, and welcome to the show. Today we're talking about Prey, the new streaming exclusive courtesy of Hulu. Prey is the new sequel, or more accurately, prequel, in the Predator movie franchise, which is now 35 years old. With 4 previous films, how does this new installment hold up? Well, it's a bit complicated.
You're the Predator.
First, let's set the scene. Prey was directed by Dan Trachtenberg, known for 10 Cloverfield Lane, which came out, I believe, in 2016, and is set in the early 1700s on the Great Plains of what eventually became part of the United States. The story stars Naru, a young Comanche native who yearns for the thrill of the hunt. Seeing as the act of hunting was generally reserved to the men of the tribe, Naru looks to prove to her brother and tribespeople that she's a worthy and formidable member of the hunter-gatherer lifestyle. And she carries a lot of the material here. One of the cool aspects of this movie is that it's spoken in both English and Comanche, the latter of which is a native dialect for the film's highlighted tribe. It's not often that we get to see native culture presented in a relatively authentic form, especially when it comes to popular media. I mean, how many movies can you name, aside of perhaps Dances with Wolves, that actually do this? Midthunder put on an admirable performance as the main star. Considering that she shares the main character spotlight with past legends Arnold Schwarzenegger and Carl Weathers, it was refreshing to see a new take on the main protagonist. Much like the theme of the previous movies, it's important to remember that guns and bulging biceps are no match for cunning and wit. However, there's something to be said for new directions, but the setup is more intriguing than the actual execution of the film. While the main characters in the movie present an authentic look at primitive 18th century sensibilities, there's only so much that can keep the viewer engaged before the content becomes a bit stale. On the one hand, there's a good diversity of set pieces here, even if most of it takes place in the forest. It's true that this genre of movie works when there's tension and build-up, but I found that Prey didn't quite know how to pace itself at times. We see the Predator early and pretty often in the movie, and you can pretty much guess whenever it'll pop up. I've said this before, and I'll continue to say it again. Less is more. Now you might be thinking, Noah, we already know what the Predator looks like. It's not a surprise to anyone who's familiar with these movies. My response is that 2 things can be true at once, and here's why. Yes, the Predator is an iconic movie monster that we've seen over and over, but with the 5th entry in a franchise, the audience is supposed to see new things and get some unsuspected surprises. That's really the whole point of Prey. It's a new time period, new characters, and a break from what we usually expect. This movie has a tough job balancing the familiar with the new elements, but that doesn't mean it can't make things a bit more fresh. It's ultimately a slightly different retread of what we've seen time after time again. Without going into spoilers, you can safely assume what the 3 main acts will include. Just remove the modern technology element of the first. Additionally, we know the Predator goes to different planets and separate time periods to hunt, and this alien is clearly more advanced than humans, and it's supposed to be at the top of its game. Sometimes, it feels like the rules are unclear. The hunt wouldn't be satisfying if the prey was weak or on an unlevel playing field, so occasionally the monster is making cheap shots or makes unclear decisions to let the target live for a while longer. It's ambiguous at best and nonsensical at its worst. On a more positive note though, I would like to say that the creature design is rock solid. We see the Predator's dangerous capabilities and how much mayhem it causes in tight spaces. I also appreciated that it got pretty roughed up on more than one occasion, capitalizing on the classic line and major theme of the movies. If it can bleed, we can kill it. Speaking of that, this movie is pretty brutal, and there's a lot of animal violence if you can stomach that. If not, I recommend you skip this one. The special effects are fine, but I didn't count on top-tier CGI from a straight-to-streaming release. I did love the beautiful aerial view shots and chosen locations for filming, as they really add to the tone and environmental storytelling. I love some of the cues from grass, blurred backgrounds, and snapping twigs and tree branches. With all that said, Prey isn't a bad film by any means. If anything, it's probably what the Predator franchise needed after the 2018 film. The director has openly stated that new installments are being planned in different areas of history. Prey is a solid foundation for each future film to get even better with the formula, and I hope to see the Predator movies make a proper comeback. Prey is a decent start, but I can't say it's worthy of the high praise it's been getting. At the end of the day, I think we're all just glad that this new movie has ended the bad streak of Predator films. Prey gets 3 stars out of 5. For more reviews, commentary, and general tomfoolery, keep an eye on my channel. Until then, what's new is now news from me to you. See you later.